Hello, everybody. Good afternoon or good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on wherever part of the world you are joining us from. Um, Thank you for joining us. Um, 1 second. Some folks are just give me a second. Some people need to mute their microphones. Uh, Co-host. Okay. I trust we're all doing great, yeah? So welcome to Grow Your Business with TikTok Ads by AdPay in partnership with Aleph, right? Thank you for joining this session super early. We'll just start by, you know, taking us through um, why we're here. I'll be introducing the AdPay team. I'll be introducing AdPay. I'll be doing a brief overview of AdPay and a strategic TikTok partnership facilitated by Aleph. And, I'll hand off to the next person. Um, so, um, so first off, this just about Mercury. At Mercury, we are making global technologies more useful and accessible for African businesses. And specifically for the context of this session, it's been brought to you by Mercury. And at Mercury, and this is the team, delivering all of these goods to you. We have Ayode, CEO and co-founder, Damola, myself, CEO and co-founder, the growth manager, Dami, customer success manager, who many AdPay customers know very, very well, Iyanu, and as well as Busayomi, who leads marketing, right? And just to give you some intro about AdPay, AdPay enables thousands of businesses today pay for Google Ads in Naira. So you can fund your Google Ad accounts directly in Naira, so you can manage your ad spend without the hassle of currency conversion. We also extend some critical consulting services from experts at Google to our customers, right? And we have the privilege of introducing TikTok to our AdPay offerings. We have the opportunity to introduce TikTok to our AdPay offering starting today. Oh, that's officially, it's been in play for a few weeks. So officially, we have the opportunity. And so through the rest of the conversation today, we'll be talking about that and how you can make the most of it. We'll also be elucidating a little more about why this is necessary. I mean, some people already believe that they use TikTok ads, but on this call, we'll see why, TikTok ads is different from maybe a TikTok ads manager. I'm letting the cat out of the bag already, right? And what kind of sophisticated, results you can get from, this service. Yeah. So on this note, I'll be handing over the call to the representative from Aleph to talk more about TikTok ads. That will be Timmy Lane. Over to you.
Thank you so very much, Damola. It's a pleasure to be on this call, and I'm really excited about the conversations that we'll be having with everyone on this call. My name is Timilei Oyudeji, Senior Client Partner here at Aleph, and I have on the call a couple of my colleagues as well. But more importantly, I also want to introduce to you Tamara. Tamara is on the call. I don't know, Tamara, are you able to say hi to everyone on the call?
Yes,
Tamara
hi
is the Client
everyone.
Solution Manager for MedTap. Cool, cool. Thank you so much, Tamara. So myself and Tamara will be running you guys through, what's possible on TikTok. And we hope that you find this session really, really exciting and insightful. But before we move on, I want to just check, with everyone in the room, if you could just, by means of giving me an emoji. How many of us have TikTok app? How many of us are on TikTok? Oh, nice, cool, Samuel. Oh, nice, love it. Okay, okay. That means we're in the right place. I hope that at the end of today's session, you fully, abreast with what's possible with TikTok. Before I go on, I want to play for you guys a very short video. So please sit back, grab coffee, and enjoy this video for 30 seconds.
2024 was an iconic year. Oh, hey, man in finance. And it all started with a little TikTok. You helped launch new authors and even got us back into bookstores. Your small businesses thrive.
Hello, y'all. We are live right now.
Now local spots on every corner are booming. You were the reason artists blew up and sparked whole movements. One little hippo had a big impact on endangered species. No, I said little hippo. Big impact. This year you laughed, yapped, and connected on here and in the real world.
Very demure, very mindful.
Because one little TikTok can spark a really big impact.
One little TikTok can strike a really big impact. And this is not far-fetched if we think about it, by taking a step back. I don't know how many of us, would remember those days of, newspaper one way. Maybe you have to wait for the complete sport vendor to come deliver, the newspaper to the house, or the punch guy, or maybe you have to aggregate somewhere to, go read the news. But in the early 2000s, with advent of internet and access to mobile devices, was saying that users would pretty much go on a platform, to get context about certain narratives. But with the evolution that happened within that space, Google came in with the knowledge graph, where we basically are able to leverage, the search engine results page using keywords to find out, more about knowledge. And we quickly morphed from that, with Facebook at the time, leading away with the social graph, where people are able to, basically tie their stories to visual, engaging imagery. But right now, 2025, from 2020, we're currently in the age of content. Like you all know, content is king, like they like to say. But what we've seen so far, and how TikTok sort of is leveraging, or has owned that content space, is being able to leverage data signals, which we'll talk about on this call today, to ensure that everyone on TikTok, gets content that is really, really relevant, to them. As a matter of fact, for everyone on this call, if we bring out our mobile phones now and go to our TikTok pages, we'll find that the for you page for everyone is different. And that's because the algorithm on TikTok is super sophisticated, tying back to data signals, like I mentioned. When I say signals, I mean things like when you like a content, when you share content, when you comment, on a particular content on TikTok. But beyond that, there are signals, which we'll talk about. Signals like, leveraging pixels, or SDK or a MMP, like AppsFlyer. But what TikTok has done in owning this space is just tying back to that bit around, content, and not just content, but this time around short form content, to drive education, entertain, users on the platform. Compared to other social media platforms, TikTok is about entertainment. The behavior of an average user on TikTok is to get entertained on TikTok, right? Compared to what you have on other platforms where people will go check, you want to go check X to see what's happening, what's trending, for example. You want to go on Instagram to see what's happening, maybe with the influencers or whatever content type they're interested in. But with TikTok, it's so much more about, storytelling and being able to tie that storytelling to various interests, and affinity groups that are available within the ecosystem on TikTok. Tamala made a point earlier around how, some users or people would have, the TikTok profile, and you think that that's the best way to go about running ads. But we hope that after this session today, you're better well equipped, to understand how to fully leverage the entire suite, of TikTok, which will give you access to insights, like the one you can see on my screen. And the way this works typically is, so you're able to have a TikTok business center. And that business, with the TikTok business center, you then have a TikTok's ads manager. TikTok's ad manager is a dashboard end to end that gives you the ability to be able to set up campaigns, give you access to the entire suite of solutions. And I think it's a good time to also mention that TikTok is a full funnel platform. And this full funnel platform is largely driven by discovery. A recent survey says 67% of users say that TikTok inspired them to make a purchase even when they're not planning to do so. And it goes back to that bit around TikTok being able to leverage signals, like I mentioned earlier, the strong data points that are available through machine learning and artificial intelligence to be able to, deliver content, on the For You page of users on TikTok based on things that are relevant to them. Just to break it down a little, sometimes, you're in a phase where you're looking to maybe buy a new phone, for example. Yes, it's in your subconscious mind, it's not something you're actively telling everybody all over the place, but you dropped the footprints you have, when consuming, short form videos, for example. You like certain content, you go to make research on certain content, or even look for reviews, because TikTok, is pretty much a search engine these days. So what the algorithm then does is it curates all of those signals that you've or footprints that you have across the platform and deliver to you short form videos, that tally, marry, with your need states at the time. And that's how, it scales, across board. But more importantly is to also call out that, there's that bit around content graph, which I just spoke to you guys earlier, tying very heavily into short form videos, and you're also able to drive personalization at scale. So for a small business owner, for a startup, looking to drive growth, looking to drive top of mind awareness, TikTok is the platform where you want to be, and I'll talk to you about it, because the honest truth is that user behavior has changed over time. And we found that users are beginning to tap into that bit around short form videos. And if you look at the trend across most of the platforms that are out there, you will find that short form video is a way to go. But more importantly, TikTok's algorithm, being a performance-based platform, gives you the ability to tap into that ready, intent, the strong intent when users go to search, on TikTok. So how then can you then marry that intent, to your proposition as a business? And that's where, getting access to the TikTok Business Center, the TikTok Ads Manager, for example, gives you, the ability to tap into this. So I would recommend very strongly that instead of deploying your campaigns or running your campaigns from your mobile phones, the front end from your profile, it's best that you get the access to the entire source, which is free. All you need to do would be to, complete a form, which Damola would share with you on this call very shortly. But in coming on TikTok, brands must be ready to tell stories. And that's because as human beings, we tend to gravitate towards, stories that are not just only emotional, but connect to us, in various ways. Three things I want to call out very quickly is that TikTok is very immersive, and you will see the numbers as we go on, but it's very immersive. And compared to what other platforms would say, it is critical that you optimize, for sound on. It's an authentic platform. So it sounds like leveraging ASMR features, so if you play in the FMCG space, for example, or the QSR space, for example, or you sell food, there's certain sounds that unpacking, a pack of food can make, and that can tie back into the mindset, of the audience around, just dialing up that hunger, or that thirst, as it were. But that bit around, being able to play with sound, being able to tell real stories, is critical for any brand that's looking to activate on TikTok. The second bit is short form videos. You must be ready to tell stories, using the framework which we will share with you very shortly. Have a very strong hook, just to ensure that you tap into that bit around the attention span of consumers being very short, and you're able to dial up your message, very quickly. Finally, TikTok is very community driven. It's community driven because of the authenticity, that it has. For example, you go on TikTok, for example, and you find that even within the comment section, a video can have as much as 50,000, comments, and those are people that are actively, engaging with that brand, on a daily basis, and they remain connected. So for brands that are looking to activate on TikTok, these are three pillars, very basic pillars that you must pay attention to. Please, if there are any questions, do not hesitate to drop them on the chat box. We'll be happy to take them, as we go. TikTok's goal and vision is very impactful, in the sense that TikTok understands very fully that the path to purchase is not a linear one. And like you all would know, it's various touch points before a user gets to make a final decision. But what TikTok is trying to do very strategically is to move users from a place of saying, TikTok made me buy it, to a place where users can actually complete, that purchase, on TikTok. And this can go across various verticals. Happy to share use cases, with you. Like I said earlier, TikTok is full funnel and it drives culture. Many of you will know the guy called Pella, I assume, for those that he appeals to. You might say whatever you want to say about Pella. You might say his English is terrible or whatever it is, but the honest truth is that for those that connect with him, they connect with him, and that bond between him and them is strong. So as such, for a business, for a brand, looking to activate on TikTok, you need to be ready to relate with your target audience in a way that they would understand. Be real, be organic, even in teasing out how your USP or your offering or your products could alleviate certain pain points. You must be ready, to do that in a way that will resonate. TikTok is the #1 platform for entertainment. It also means that users will typically come on TikTok because they want to get their moods lifted. It's a very positive place for users. But let's talk a bit about some numbers before we go deeper. Right now on TikTok, we have 39.4 monthly active users, which is about 23% of the internet penetration in Nigeria currently. And there are tons and tons of video that are created, on a daily basis. In a month, an average of almost 200 million videos, created on TikTok. And an average TikTok user will spend an average of 70 minutes on the app on a daily basis, and they would open the app nothing less than 11 times. And they're opening the app, while they're in the bathroom, while they're preparing for work, while they're in meetings, while they're on dates, TikTok is a part of their life. I also want to call your attention very quickly to the fact that TikTok is a platform that houses very young, vibrant, audiences that have access to income. They have earning powers. They also have ability to control their purchase decisions. About 77% of the audience on TikTok currently sit between the ages of 18 and 34 years old, which is a gold mine for any serious brands that is looking to activate. You might say it's a Gen Z platform, but I beg to differ, because if you look at it in real terms, Gen Zs are becoming parents. Gen Zs are becoming homeowners. Gen Zs are moving out of their parents' houses and they're beginning to take decisions on their own, which means that for a brand that is serious about growth, you really want to tap into that audience. And here's how they're spending time on TikTok, because TikTok has taken a liberty to democratize how people consume, and even create content. And if you look at my screen very closely, you'll find that users are typically creating content, from the hours of about 8 a.m. in the morning till about 11 p.m. in the night. So almost every day, users are creating content, and beyond creating content, they are also consuming, content very actively on TikTok. These guys are people with bloods flowing through their veins. They have pets, they have interests, they have children, they have partners, they have aspirations. And as such, for brands that would activate on TikTok, we strongly recommend that you see these people beyond numbers, but as real people that are sharing their stories authentically, on a daily basis. It's a gold mine. These are some of the top content categories that are available, and each of these content categories are categories that could be carefully mined, curated to ensure that your brand proposition or your messaging or your business objectives, are well met. For example, live videos, will fall under performance, and between April, last year and this year, there's been over 10.4 billion video views within that category alone. That just tells you the potential of eyeballs, that you have, on TikTok. But beyond eyeballs, there are things that you can do full funnel. So you can run awareness campaigns, you can run consultation campaigns, you can run conversion campaigns. So if you have an app, for example, from app install to app engagement, the entire 9 yards are solutions that we can help you with. Users on TikTok, about 62.7% of Nigerians on TikTok say they will pay more for a brand they know over paying less for another brand, that they are not familiar with. In Nigeria today, inflation is currently on double digits. Cost of living is on the high. But users will still remain loyal to brands, that they are connected with, brands that they are aware with. And in cases where they do not have the purchase power to meet up with the brand that they are aware with, the other brand they will think about is the brand that comes to mind. So that bit around top of mind awareness, is also very critical, for brands. 83.6% of TikTok users in Nigeria tend to buy a brand that is seen advertised online, just to buttress the point I just gave or shared just now. But beyond this, let's get deeper, to look at some more exciting stuff. And I would, yield the floor to Tamara at this juncture. Hi, Tamara.
Hey.
Cool. So I'm just gonna pass the mic to Tamara at this juncture. Over to you, Tamara.
Do you want to share the other presentation?
Oh, I thought I was sharing that. 1 second, guys.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Timmy. Hi guys, everyone. Timmy just introduced me, but I'm Tamara. I'm based in Dubai. I work at TikTok, and I am the client solutions manager on Nigeria and Kenya. And I am here to present everything product and solutions related. So as Timmy mentioned before, please, any questions you have, drop them, and we will have some time to answer them all. Before we deep dive into products, I think one very important note that we need to talk about that people don't really usually value is creatives. So if we go to the next slide, this is based off a database that showed that on TikTok, from the whole media mix, effectiveness is driven 50% by the creative and the quality of the creatives that you have. This is how important creatives are at TikTok. Whereas media represents 36% and the brand itself represents 14%. So if you're looking to really be successful on TikTok, the first thing that you want to think of really after your objective is the creatives themselves. Somebody is not seeing the screen shared. I think it's only on your end. Can anyone else confirm with a thumbs up if they can see the screen? Yeah, okay. Right, so if we move over to the next slide, you will see the best practices in order to make sure that your creatives are successful for TikTok. Now, a quick theme that you guys need to know before we talk about specifics is the flow of your asset or your creative. So it needs to begin with what we call a hook. So the hook is the first few couple of seconds in which the value of the content is shared with the user. So this is what you use to grab the user's attention. Once you've hooked the audience, you can deliver the body of the content using the native platform narrative structures, which we will talk about in the next slide. And finally, 6 seconds and beyond is when you want to close with a strong call to action that clearly sets out the intention you want your audience to take. In the next slides, you will see there are 9 tipping points in order to make your creative a successful one. First is really basic. I think you guys all know it goes without saying, but you need to make sure that your asset is in a vertical form rather than a horizontal form, like for YouTube or for anything TV related. Second, you want to leverage the power of sound. There is so much power in sound that you need to add some noise to make a greater impact. Tip number 3 is overlay concise and informative text. You know that we have something called interactive add-ons. And if you don't, it's something that you guys really need to discuss with the Aleph team. These are different types of emojis and interactive things and effects that will make sure to capture the user's attention and engage them. Then you want to make sure your key message is out early. So as we just discussed, you want to make use of that hook moment, which is the first 2 seconds, to grab your user's attention and highlight the key message of whatever you are advertising. Then, if we're moving to the end of that asset or that creative, we want to include a strong call to action. You want to make sure that you're conveying the action you want users to take through this video. Tip number 6, you want to address viewers directly to provoke an action. So if what you're using someone who is looking straight at the camera, talking to them, you are making it very powerful, personal, which people on TikTok really like because it grabs their attention and they feel involved. Then you want to keep your story real and entertaining. You know, we are a very native platform. Being as simple and as ordinary as possible in terms of natural way of letting the information flow is crucial. People don't really like to see, oh, this is really an ad. They like to be hooked very organically, if you want. Then you want to write the latest trends. Something that you can do is leverage on popular trends, effects, sounds that you can see via the search bar. You can see what your competitors are doing. You can even reach out to the Aleph team for them to check on TTAM, some creatives that are relatable to your industry that are the most popular and working. So you guys can use a lot of tips and tricks from different paths to tap into trends if you want to make use of that. And finally, you want to let TikTok creators take the lead. So as mentioned, if we're talking again about the number 6, addressing viewers comes from using creators. You want to use people to attract users that talk to them, so on and so forth. And for that, on the next slide is Timmy.
Thanks, Tamara. Right. So just like Tamara said, content or creatives are one of the best, drivers of performance on TikTok. And what TikTok has done is we've been able to curate for advertisers packages. And these packages have various spend thresholds. So if you're going through a campaign, it's always best to ensure that the assets are created in a way that is TikTok first. And like Tamara said earlier, don't just take the YouTube asset, the TVC, and dump it on TikTok. There are packages that can help you, remix whatever existing assets you have, and I think we can always discuss the spend allocated. So I think it's about 7.5 thousand USD, but not to worry. If you have any asset, let's always discuss. Damola will be happy to, collect all of those, information, and we can always look at how to help you on that front. But beyond that, there are assets there are packages that help you, gather content creators on TikTok, depending on your brief. And these content creators, will then work on the brief that you have to produce for you assets that you can use for your campaigns. There are four buckets. The first one is the Light package, which gives you access to 3 creators, micro creators, and these creators then go on to create individual videos, and you have 3 videos in total. If you're spending about 25K, you have access to 4 creators, two micro, two mid, and each of these creators create one asset, and then you have 4 videos in total. If you have to spend 40K within a quarter, you are able to unlock 6 creators, and these creators go on to produce assets, and you have 6 videos in total. Also, you have the 50K, plus. This is a custom package. We can always discuss what the deliverables, for this will be alongside your brief. Again, creatives are important for campaigns to perform well. And what TikTok has done is to have packages like this to support your business, to ensure that you have TikTok first assets that will deliver, well for your campaigns. If you have any questions, please feel free to draw them on the chat. Happy to take them after now. Over to you, Tamara.
Okay, now if we are talking about the products, we've basically got you covered no matter what you guys want to do. So if you guys are looking for reach, engagement, consideration, or conversion, we have a series of products that cover each and every single one, which we internally split between branding and performance. So everything related to reach and engagement for us falls under the branding section, in which you have 3 different types of campaigns, which are auction reach, focused views or video views, and community interaction. Now, if you want to deep dive into performance, is where we have traffic campaigns, web conversion campaigns, lead generation, and app promotion. Catalog ads is at the moment not available in Nigeria and Kenya, but in due time, it will be. And finally, if we're also going back to creatives, you will see that on the side, we have something called Symphony that is different from what Timmy just mentioned, the TikTok Creative Exchange. Symphony is kind of our AI for creatives. I'm not going to deep dive into that today, but if it does interest you, please do reach out to Timmy. It's basically an AI that helps you create assets, shuffle them around the way you want, make them friendly to the platform. So yeah, if it spikes your interest, we can have this conversation on the side. I'm just conscious of time. In the next slide, we are going to focus on the branding products, each and every single one. Now, as I just mentioned, branding products are 3: auction, video views, and community interaction. Auction reach is all about showing your ad to the maximum number of unique users. So it focuses on frequency, unique reach, and it optimizes for reach. Video views will show your ad to people most likely to watch the video. This is how it differs from reach. So either just start it, watch 2 seconds, 6 seconds, or 15. And this is why you can optimize towards focused views of 6 seconds or 15 seconds, depending on what matters to you guys. And finally, you have community interaction, which is all about building a long-lasting community on TikTok, and it optimizes towards followers and page visits, everything that will basically increase your community on TikTok. One note about community interaction, that it needs to be based off Spark ads. If you don't know the idea of Spark ads, please do drop that in the questions and we will answer it after the presentation. Now, in the next slide, we will be talking about performance. Now, before we deep dive into what the performance products are, one thing that you need to know about performance is that what matters about it is having something called signals, which comes into different shapes and forms. But first, what is the importance of signals? Why do we need to have them? There are 3 main purposes for that. One is to build marketing audiences. You can use all the data you get from these signals to create custom audiences based on the different types of visits that have happened on your site, the different events that have happened, such as page view, purchases, add to cart, and you can create that custom audience to re-engage these people. If you think that they have come across a certain part of the journey and you want to push them to perform even more towards purchase, or I don't know, doing a checkout, so on and so forth. Then it helps you optimize ad delivery. You are able to target audiences that are more likely to initiate a website event by optimizing towards that event. So if you want to make sure that your ad is being optimized towards people most likely to view a certain page or add something to a cart or make a purchase, you are able to select that event that you want to purchase towards. So this is why it's very important to have these in place. 3, it allows you to measure campaign performance, right? So it allows you to measure your return on ad spend based on the series of events you have defined and based on the actions that are taken. The point is you have all of this visibility via signals. Now, how do you make sure that you have signals? Is two ways. Either you are using web tracking or app tracking. So it depends really on if you are a website or you are an app. Now, if you are a website, there are two ways that you can do that, which is via a pixel or events API. If we go to the next slide, you will see the pixel is a piece of code that is added to your website to share all the information there is about events and visits that happen on your site. So you take this piece of code, you make sure it's added on your website, you add the respective events, and all of this will subsequently be tracked on your website based on what users take action on. So one thing to note is that coding is optional to implement this pixel, as you can see in the next slide. There are three ways to make sure that your pixel is implemented. You can use a platform integration. So you can use Telium, Google Tag Manager, which are tag management systems that really facilitate the whole process of implementing a pixel on your website. It doesn't really require developer knowledge or anything. Then the second option is that you can use TikTok Event Builder. Again, it doesn't need a developer, but if you are not using a tag management system and you want to do everything via TikTok Ads Manager, then you can do that via our TikTok Event Builder. And the third one is, if you're the website admin, you want to have full control, you will need a developer or someone in your digital team to implement everything on the site directly. So these are the three options that you can make sure that you have the pixel code set up on your website for tracking. Now, app tracking. So app tracking is different from web tracking. And one thing that you need to know also to flag before I deep dive into the apps is that the tracking that you have on a website and the tracking that you have on the app are two separate things. So if you use an app and you use a website, having the pixel on the website will not allow you to track anything on your app, and vice versa. They are not interchangeable in any way. So this is why they are split in this presentation into different sections, one being the app and one being the web. So for app, what you can use to track, same idea, just on the app, the events, everything happening, what users are doing on your app is via two ways. Either via an MMP, so a mobile measurement partner, or our TikTok SDK. Now, we have different partners that are our mobile measurement, We have Adjust, we have Apps Flyer, we have Kochava, and all the others that you can see right now on the screen that you can use to track everything on your app. It's a simple integration. Depending on what you're using, if you want this integration to happen, there is a quick guide that can help do the setup. Otherwise, if you want to be cost saving, and you can use our TikTok SDK. Our TikTok SDK is just, the only thing about it is that it's purely TikTok tracking, but everything happens on the platform. It's quite easy. And then there's just a quick part that the developer should do to support with the setup on the app side. And if we go to the next slide, now we're talking about the actual product. So all of the products I'm about to mention now are efficient and do proper tracking in terms of performance if those signals are available. So if that pixel is implemented, if that event API is implemented, and if that MMP or SDK is implemented based on whether you are a web or app. Now, the three different objectives are: one, traffic. So traffic drives people to a destination of your choice. All you need to do is put a specific landing page. It can also be your app, so you can put a deep link, and it optimizes for clicks or landing page views. So it's the very beginning of the user journey on your website, if you think about it. It's either that click that happened or that user that landed on whatever page you have set up. Then, if you want to track conversions or value, and you are on a website, this is where you need to launch a web conversion campaign to attract users to take valuable actions on your website, such as the add to cart that we mentioned, the complete payment, the purchase, the view content, whichever events that you deem valuable and have added on your site. And if you are an app, then your app objective campaign can optimize towards installs, in-app events, value, which is the same concept of the add to cart, purchase, subscribe, checkout, so on and so forth. So it's the same basically, but just a different server if you want. Then on the next slide is our lead gen objective. So our lead gen objective is really to tap into new leads. The idea behind it is that you want to check which audience are you want to turn these audiences into high value customers by capturing these valuable leads. So how do you do it? You use an instant form within TikTok and send leads to your CRM in real time. So that's something that you need to keep in mind. You need to have a CRM. So there are direct CRM integrations, same idea as the MMP. So we have Salesforce and Google, or you can do a 3P integration or a custom API. So yeah. Next up is right. So we have a new technology like Symphony for creatives, but for performance campaigns, which is Smart Plus. Now, if you want to run any of the performance objective campaigns that I just mentioned, so traffic, web conversion, app promotion, and lead gen, what you can do is either run it the manual and traditional way, or you can use Smart Plus. However, why would you use Smart Plus? That's because it is our AI-powered automation solution that enables businesses to efficiently maximize their returns. How does it do that? It goes into three main pillars. Better performance, because there is a machine learning in the back end that helps predict and help you achieve your business goals. You have operational efficiency. You just create your Smart Plus campaign and you let TikTok handle the rest. And again, by TikTok handling the rest, it's that machine learning. And the three is that creative is made easy. So you automate how creatives are shown to your audience. Typically, you go on TikTok Ads Manager or whichever ad manager platform you see, you keep an eye on which creatives are performing well, which are not, and then you need to shuffle them around, shuffle your budgets, probably even change the whole creative. And this is where Smart Plus is a very good time saver. It does this whole thing for you. So again, as I mentioned, the objectives that has Smart Plus are web conversion, app promotion, lead gen, and traffic. And if you look at this, it's basically the same idea of what I just mentioned 2 slides ago. So Smart Plus continuously optimizes your ad campaigns. It creates multiple ad groups across placements and audiences, and it creates many iterations of your creatives. So having all of that gives a lot of different options for optimization and better results. Up to you, Timmy.
Cool. Thanks, Tamara. I really hope that the session has been really exciting and educative for everyone. As we bring the session to a wrap, I wanted to share with you guys a case study, from a local brand here in Nigeria, and looking at the kind of results that they got using Smart Plus, just like Tamara said. The goal for this client, which plays in the financial services vertical here in Nigeria, was to scale user acquisition on TikTok while maintaining a cost per acquisition that is less than $1.80. And how was this done? This was done, by leveraging Smart Plus, our Smart Plus app promotion campaigns on TikTok. The brand had created, real, authentic videos or assets, that mirrored various use cases of their product. For purpose of emphasis, this particular brand, play within the financial service space, but they give credits. So loans is where they play. And what they did was to leverage, again, Smart Plus app promotion. And this just didn't only reach the users, but got users with high intent to convert. And the way they converted was to do 2 things: download the app through app installs, and also, apply for credit. Great thing about this, particular campaign was that the campaign was able to deliver less than, the target CPA, and it delivered at $1, which is about 56% lower than, what the manual campaign, would deliver. So TikTok is great while you use manual campaigns, but it is greater, in terms of efficiency when you used when you use Smart Plus, campaigns. These campaigns, within the period that it was deployed for about 45 days, delivered over 22,000 app installs with an average CPM of 61 cents, versus the initial CPM that was gotten through manual campaigns of $1.18. Overall, TikTok as a platform is grateful for now, but for this particular campaign, we saw that Blue Ridge was able to deliver a cost per result that was 56%, better, cost per acquisition than manual campaigns. And this was done using Smart Plus and also leveraging the AI-powered optimization for creatives that Tamara spoke on earlier. And I think it's a very good piece.
300,000 naira now because I have to pay rent in 2 days. My car is broken. I need 500,000 naira to fix it now.
After watching this video, all these problems can be solved. Take the link below, enter your mobile phone number and the identity information, and you can apply for a loan of up to 1 million naira with a repayment period of up to 365 days. You only need to download Okash, and all the above problems can be solved. Hurry up and click the install button below the video to download it. Wow! The loan I applied for has been credited.
Beautiful. Damola and everyone on the call, I want to say a very big thank you to you. Tamara, thank you so much as well. But I will just hand over the mic back to Damola at this juncture.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much to Tamara and Timilane. We have some questions for Timilane and for Tamara. Damilola will be anchoring that session. Over to you, Damilola.
Thank you very much, Damola. Thanks so much, Tamara. Hello, everyone. Good morning. So the questions that we have here, the first question is from Fola, from VSW Media. So Fola is asking, what is the difference between TikTok ads and TikTok promote? Also, he's also asking, what is the advantage of using AdPay for TikTok ads as opposed to using the promote feature, which is cheaper and faster?
Thanks, Damilola, for that. I think I'm happy to take that question. Right. So the difference between promote on the app and having a TikTok ads manager is that the app or promoting via the app can be restrictive. However, if you have access to the TikTok's ad manager, you get access to the entire suite of solutions. So meaning that you can run awareness campaigns, brand campaigns, optimize for reach, video views, or community interactions. For the performance side of things as well, for consideration campaigns and conversion, you're able to run full campaigns, either for your mobile app, drive traffic to your website, and basically leverage signals, like Tamara had mentioned, earlier. But beyond that, there are also advanced solutions like Smart Plus, that you get access to if you use the TikTok ads manager. And just to give a bit of context around, the pricing, it's free. All you basically need to do is just send a request, to us, and we'll be happy to create for you the TikTok business center and ads manager, for your business to be able to run the campaigns. I believe after this call or towards the end of this call, Damola will share with you, a form. Please feel free to complete that form. I'll be very happy to engage, going forward. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. Fola, if you're on the call, I hope that answers your question. A second question from Fola. So question is, TikTok bans and flags everything. What service will AdPay offer to help out with ads not getting banned? Essentially, why will the account or content be banned?
Right.
TikTok is very strict in terms of advertising policies, just to make sure that from one side, whichever industry is advertising is doing it properly based on the country in which it is. That's on one side. On the second side is to make sure that the content that is being promoted is rightfully being promoted. The third type of reason that could be rejected is if there is some visuals that are usually not appropriate for that market or that country, then it will be banned. So if your content is always being banned or rejected, that's because you need to work with Timmy. So he can guide you on what's okay and what's not, what requires certificates, what doesn't, and then you should be good to go. But the reason is to make sure also that ads are safe in terms of rightfully being promoted, message is not being offensive in any way to the audience, and everything is within limits and with the proper rights.
Whose money are you talking about? Hello?
Sorry?
Awesome.
Thank you, Tamara. I think someone is speaking from the room.
Yeah, awesome, Tamara. Thank you very much. I think that's it. If you're complying with the policies, you should your ads, will not be banned. A third question from Fola says, sorry, 1 second. I have run ads from another country. TikTok ads sent bots to my TikTok Pango. Okay, sorry. TikTok ads sent bots from TikTok Pangos to our websites. We tracked and realized this was directly from TikTok. How do we prevent that from happening?
Right. Happy to take that. So Pango, for the purpose of everyone on the call, Pango is an audience network, for TikTok. And what that means is that beyond the TikTok ecosystem, there are platforms within the bite-sized community or the TikTok community, that users are actively engaging on. And with Pango, for example, you're able to, have broader reach, to reach people that are actively engaging with gaming, for example, people that are engaging on CapCut, for example. So for this particular case, it will be nice to double click on it. But what I can tell you is that depending on your target or your strategy, there are ways, to work around, the bot. I'm not sure what vertical you're playing in or what the objective for that particular campaign was, but we were saying that Pango, delivers more, for users that are looking to drive, more lower for now, for their campaigns. I don't know, Tamara, do you want to add to that?
One thing I would mention is if you have the option to remove Pangle, then why don't you do it? Because this should be an option that is present there, and then you can just focus on TikTok placements, right? Because as he said, as Timmy said, because it's a huge wide of networks, it's very possible that there are bots that infiltrate, whereas TikTok is 100% tracked, safe, it's within our ecosystem, so this would not happen. So you can just remove Pangle in that option. But again, for that, it's a process that needs to go through us, because even Timmy cannot do it. It will rely within TikTok itself. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tamara. Appreciate that. Those are all the questions from Fola of VSW Media. Going.
Sorry.
Danny, just
I think he
before
has
you,
a question.
yes, thank
Okay,
you.
we have a
Thank you so
question
much, Tamara,
from.
for catching that. Just wanted to add to the last thing you had said. So, apparently, that essentially, just picking up from what you said, which was the last thing that we had to just go through TikTok to essentially find a way around removing Pango from going to the website, because I was kind of confused because we was running this ads from Canada essentially, and the ad was targeted to Nigeria, and we essentially just found out that TikTok was sending Pango audience to the website, and these people were essentially not converting because we were looking through Microsoft Clarity and we found out that they were probably spending 1-2 seconds on the website and then they were leaving. So just to edge out to that, you essentially just said we would go through TikTok and we would have to solve this through TikTok, and it's not something Timmy and his team can essentially fix. Is that what you're essentially clarifying right now, that we'd have to go through TikTok directly?
Yes, just a question before. Are you running Smart Plus campaigns or are they manual?
No, your manual campaigns, not
What
not Smart
objective
Plus.
are they?
What did you say, Tamara?
Which campaign objectives are they?
Website traffic conversions, essentially.
Website traffic conversions. Okay. Let me double check, because there was a point where that could have been done manually, even when it's the traditional campaigns. For Smart Plus, then it needs to go through us. But just give me a couple of seconds to double check that for you. And in the meantime, we can jump on another question for the sake of time.
Thank you, Dami. Thank you, Tini. Thank you, Tamara.
No worries. Just to add a bit of context to Tamara, and just so that everyone also understands, in case you're having an issue or issues with your TikTok campaign. So this webinar, was brought to you by AdPay. AdPay is a strategic partner of Aleph. So if you're having any issues whatsoever, please feel free to route them through the link that was dropped by Iyano on the chat. What we will do, between AdPay and Aleph, is to aggregate all of these requests and then get TikTok to, Tamara and the team to help us address those issues. You see how this works? So for the purpose of everyone, please feel free to use that, link in the chat. Any comments, any questions, as regards your campaigns, we'll be happy to address it, and escalate upwards. I hope that helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much, Timilayan. I think we have 3 more questions that we can run through quickly. Oluwasheyi is asking, do TikTok ads run exclusively on TikTok, or are they also shown across TikTok's partner networks?
So it depends on the strategy, right, and the placements you've picked. So to answer your question directly, you can run campaigns on TikTok and on the audience network, just like the concern or the issues for Larry's now. But you can actually run campaigns and uncheck the pango, and just have the campaigns deliver on TikTok alone. So that is very possible as well.
Okay, awesome. Sounds good. Thank you very much. We have another question here from Francis. It says, what is the demography of TikTok users? I think Timilayan already shared that, but then you might want to go over it one more time.
Happy to do that. So like I said, a moment ago, there are currently 39.4 million monthly active users on TikTok. And in terms of the demography, we have people that are between the ages of 18 and 24, sitting at 46%. People that are between the ages of 25 to 34, sitting at 28%. People of 35, people between 35 and 44 years old, sitting at 15.7%. And we have, people that are 45 to 54, sitting at 6.8%. 55 upwards are about 2.8%.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Timilayan. Awesome. And the last question that we have here is from Shola Oba. Shola Oba is asking, is targeting is broad, Lagos wide or Nigeria wide?
That's a very brilliant question. So right now, what we have, because TikTok recently launched, less than a year ago in Nigeria, what we have is pan-Nigerian targeting. In the coming, quarters or months, we should have, city level targeting as well. But right now it's broad, pan-Nigeria. But obviously you can leverage, depending on your strategy, you can leverage, custom audience, and the likes, just to ensure that you're reaching the specific, if you have a narrow set of audience to reach.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Timilaine. I think those are all the questions that we have, but then I can see one question in the chat box. Los Giri is asking, what's the minimum budget required to run ads on TikTok?
Interesting question.
Yeah.
So budget is always a very interesting question to have, but I think the way we like to approach it from a TikTok standpoint is to first understand what your business outcomes are. That would be the approach to take. It's okay to test with whatever budget, but let's look at it from a business standpoint. Let us clearly communicate. Let us have a clear sense of what your business objectives are, your marketing objectives, and we can trickle down, to budget. But come with whatever budget we have, and we can support you on that front. Just to answer this question from Akinlabi, the dashboards are currently generated in USD, but you're able to pay us in Naira. Damola and the team will be able to advise on how that should work shortly. But you're able to pay us in Naira.
Absolutely. Thank you very, very much, Timilaine. And that's all the questions that we have in the Q&A box. Over back to you, Damola.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, looks like Francis still has his hands up. Hope your questions were answered.
Hi, Damola. Okay, so I just want to ask a follow-up question. So from the figures mentioned in terms of demography by Timmy, I want to believe that is a nationwide numbers and not just worldwide. Could you confirm which figure you mentioned? Is it for Nigeria or is it TikTok users worldwide?
Just Nigeria.
Okay, second question, please. I heard that Tamara mentioned earlier that catalog ads are not available. Is there any plan to launch that soon in Nigeria? Because
We don't have that. Yeah, we don't have that visibility yet, but as soon as we do, we share it with our partners. So I don't want to tell you something and then it's not that timeline.
All right, thank you.
Okay. There was another question by Chisom. Was contact info used in creating TikTok business manager ad account the foreign contact detail? I don't know if that's going to be an issue or not. Timmy?
Right. Maybe I'll just answer this question and just talk to them about onboard if that's okay with you, Damola.
Yeah, and you can also look in the chat box so that you can answer as many questions together as possible because we have run out of time.
True. Right. So I think that this has been a very exciting and engaging session, to be very honest with everyone on the call. And while we might not be able to answer all of the questions, I hope that this response I'm about to give would address how you can get started. Again, we would send contact email after now. Just in case you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. But the good thing is that you can run campaigns from Nigeria. That's the first thing to note. Through Aleph, and obviously partnership with AdPay, you can run campaigns from Nigeria across all verticals except for gaming. That's betting vertical right now. For financial services vertical, you can run ads as well. All we would need from you would be Archon certificate, a valid Archon certificate. If you also put in a core vertical as well, we'll need an Archon certificate from you. Just those two verticals. Once you have that, all you need to do is just send us a request, through AdPay, and say, please create for me a business center and a ads manager for brand XYZ. So if your brand is Damola and Sons, so you give us a request and say, create an ad account for Damola and Sons, and that ad account will be created for you in less than 3 hours. Once that is created for you, you'd have access to it, and just also say that it is self-serve, meaning that you will be able to run the campaigns yourself. The ads manager belongs to you. You have full control, full visibility over data, insights, all of the dashboards, everything end to end, you'd have access to it. And again, once you come on board, we'll be able to go deeper and do a quick walkthrough, on what the interface of the dashboard looks like. That's to answer that question. But moving forward from that, this partnership with AdPay is not changing anything from your relationship with AdPay. The requests should go to AdPay. once that comes in, AdPay would engage with us, and like I said, in less than 3 hours, the ads manager should be up for you. And for the financial services guys, that might take about 48 hours if you have a client within that space. But post 48 hours, campaigns should go live. Damola and his team, as well as the Aleph team, will always be on standby to address any issues. So if you have issues around ad campaign rejections, ad or campaign rejections, those are issues that we can deal with, you know, obviously with Tamara's help. So anything that is impossible before now, I can guarantee you that almost all things are possible, you know, through Aleph and TikTok. We can address almost any concern. All you need to do is just raise that issue, you know, through AdPay, and we'll get on it.
All right, thank you very much. I think there's another question about how to pay. Payment method is just reaching out to AdPay. Literally, it's literally that simple. We've made it that simple. Customers that pay for other services through AdPay, I mean, they don't bother about payment method. We've cleared off all the friction, and we've made it as easy as possible. So on that note, we'll say thank you to everyone for the questions, but we have some amazing announcements, and we need you to, you know, just wait behind to hear them very quickly. So first, you can get started paying for TikTok ads, you know, and getting your TikTok ads. All right, thank you, Tamara. Can we say a big thank you to Tamara with our emojis? Yeah. You can start paying for TikTok ads through Mercury, starting now. The links will be shared in the chat box, and you can also scan this QR code. And I think all of those things will also be shared with you via email. So yeah, I think from here on, I think I'll hand off to Ayo, the CEO and co-founder at Mercury.
Oh, thanks, Damola. I was actually thinking you'd do the wrap up, but thank you so much, Damola. Thanks, Timileni. Tamara has dropped off. Thank you so much. Amazing session. Thanks for everyone. I think we had about 90 people at some point on the call, so really appreciate you spending time this morning with us. Just a few updates as we wrap up. As Damola mentioned, our goal as AdPay is to make it simple and easy for you to pay for your ads, ideally in your local currency. We've done it for the last 3 years, 3+ years with Google Ads. Now we're extending it to TikTok ads, and you know our goal is to ensure that you can access all of these different ads platforms, pay in your local currency, and meet your business objective. That's the main goal. So that's where we play, right? Next slide, please. We are also introducing a program. It's not new, it's been around for a while, but we want to highlight it a bit more. It's called the AdPay Expert Community. It's basically a community of experts, people who know ads, who live and breathe ads, and can help you if you're new into ads to set up your ads, to optimize it, and to meet your business objectives, right? So the team is going to drop the link for that in the chat box. If you're interested, you want to do Google ads, well, TikTok ads is the focus for today. So you want to get started on TikTok ads. You want someone to help you through all the creative best practices, all the targeting best practices. You know, complete the form, which will be dropped in the chat box shortly or sent to you via email, and we'll connect you to an expert who does TikTok ads for a living and can help you with it, right? So please take advantage of the experts. Joining or accessing an expert is free, but obviously you pay for their services, right? It's not AdPay providing the services, it's us bringing people who know these things and can do it very well and connecting them to you, and then you can have the commercial discussion and agreement with them. We'll give you a list of experts, and then you can pick and choose who you want to work with. If you know ads very well and you want to join the community and get access to customers, you can also scan this QR code and we'll vet you, we'll take you through our checklist. If you qualify, we'll add you to that community so that you can also get access to customers and start helping them optimize their ads, right? So that's our expert community. Next slide, please. And then a big update from our side, for those that have been with us for a while. AdPay has been around over 3 years. It's evolving now. As you can see with the introduction of TikTok, that's the first sign of the evolution. Previously, we've been all about Google Ads. Now we're expanding beyond Google Ads. And so in the coming months, we can't give you an exact date, but in the coming months, AdPay is going to become just Mercury, right? So far we've been AdPay by Mercury, but we're going to become just Mercury in the coming months. I wanted to share this update with you. And so what does this mean? Damola, if you can go to the next slide, please. Okay, so it means that we are basically introducing a new platform where all the current AdPay functionality will be available in the new platform, but now you'll be able to do more, right? So what does doing more mean? It means that you can pay for TikTok, you can pay for other ads platforms, you can pay for cloud platforms and SaaS applications, right? So we're expanding beyond just ads to other SaaS applications and other cloud platforms, right? So whether it's AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, Huawei, Microsoft, etc., right? So we're bringing all of these different services into one platform and making it accessible. We'll also be introducing other payment methods like cards, bank accounts to make payments, etc. So the whole idea is one platform from which you can pay for all your ad services. You can also access expert support, like our expert community, to help you with optimizing. So please look out for this, and we'll be sharing updates via email once we get very close to launch. Next slide. Okay, and then we have, speaking to our new platform, the Mercury platform, we have a workshop that is coming up on Friday for people who use AWS or are looking at using AWS cloud platform. All of the information is here. Our partnership with AWS means that you can access up to $100,000 in free cloud credits to get started on AWS. So this is something to take advantage of if you have applications, if you have, products, online apps, etc., that you'd like to host on AWS. This is a good opportunity to learn more and also potentially access the free ads credits. So the link for this would also be shared via email so that you can register or indicate interest. But I think that's about it, right? Is there any other slide after this, Damola?
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for spending the time. I know people have asked about the recording. We'll put it on our YouTube channel so you can go back and watch it. We'll also share a recap via email. All of the different links that we've talked about today will be put in an email and shared. So if you're not part of our email database, please reach out to us, Damola, Damlola, or anyone from the team so that we can add you to it. And a big thank you to our partners, Aleph and TikTok, for their partnership and their support. And we look forward to having you on TikTok ads, right? So please try it out. Even if you don't know how it works, we can connect you to an expert to help you. There's a minimum budget. Yes, we know people would like to have even lower, but the reality is that you need to spend at a certain level to get results, right, from this ads platform. But nonetheless, please reach out, complete the form. We'll get in touch with you. We'll help you get started and help you get the most from your TikTok ad. So that's about it. Thank you, everyone, for joining the session. Have a great day, and we'll be in touch with you. Cheers.
All right. Thank you. Thank you again. Au revoir. Bye-bye. Cheers, guys. Can individuals join the community? Yes.